Thank you. Probably wondering what I'm doing here. Hopefully you'll gain, and I will gain also, just because we have this amazing spiritual technology. My background is I have a computer science degree, and I worked in a number of capacities for IBM, NCR, and some other technical companies, and it was very good, but at the same time there's limits, and if you're a little fortunate you can start to realize the real purpose of life, or if there is something more. Especially in America, you have lots of options, and here you also have lots of options, and but that doesn't solve the problem of birth, death, disease, and old age. So I want to just mention this one verse here. Ye yatha mam prapadante tam tataiva bhajamyam mama vartmana vartante manushya. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects. So we'll read a little of the purport here. Everyone. Oh, well, bear with me. I'll just read a little bit of this. Everyone is searching for Krishna in the different aspects of his manifestations. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is partially realized in his impersonal Brahma-jyoti effulgence, and as the all-pervading Supersoul dwelling within everything, including the particles of atoms. That's amazing, isn't it? But Krishna is fully realized only by his pure devotees. Consequently, Krishna is the object of everyone's realization, and thus anyone and everyone is satisfied according to one's desire to have him. In other words, we have this wonderful relationship with the Supreme Lord. And it's right there, but it's dormant for most of us. It's just there because we have not cultivated it. And so this is the power and magic of Prabhupada's process, which enables us to understand and come to a very high level of consciousness. Many of us, when you're brought up in this culture, there's so many possibilities, and there's all kinds of different things that are available, but it's often difficult to find out what's the best thing. And the glory of transcendental knowledge, that is what, like this section that we're touching on here, transcendental knowledge, it just blows away everything in opposed to all of the materialistic things. It doesn't satisfy it, right? It's like you're trying to be satisfied, you're trying to get more, even when you're very successful. Sometimes that's a good thing, but then it's not, because we know one thing is followed by another, and that these things are unfortunately not taught very well. They're just not taught. So I wanted to cover a few points, and I appreciate your working with me here. So I was thinking about how Prabhu here has this wonderful house, right? Beautiful house, a nice residence, okay? So we know about that. Right. And of course, there's different types of residences. Of course, according to the modes of nature, you have the goodness, compassion, ignorance, and so on, like that. And some people want to live in a forest and so on, but again, it's this transcendental knowledge that really brings us to a higher position. and that's not so easily accessible unless you have the knowledge which comes through the parampara, which we know of. And that this whole movement, as we know, there's a whole tradition. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a real good example of that. Just like we have this nice family here, and that they're all involved in different ways. And this is how we grow. Like we plant the seed, right? The little seed of devotion, and you have to water it and cultivate it and so on. And what we're really trying for is a revolution in consciousness. Try to share this as far as we can. And oftentimes it's a little difficult, especially for some of us a little not so cultivated. But it's there, which is really impressive. That even in that little atom that we were just hearing about, the little atom, there's consciousness there, there's those things. And of course it can be just theoretical. You just think, oh, maybe this, maybe that. But it's right there. And it can be, just like we say, direct perception of the self by realization. You can actually understand it. You have theoretical knowledge and the other side, which is the practical side. You have all this information, but does it really have value? Does it really have value? And this is the glory of having this tradition that we have that gives us so many tools to really come to a higher. See what I mean? Yes. So human potential is like we talked about these kinds of things. They have a nice point here about how man is the architect of his own fortune. Anybody heard that before?
Can you say again?
Yes. Man is the architect of his own fortune. In other words, you can do what you want because you have some free will. We all have that. The animals can't do that, except in unusual cases, and so on. Right. And without the needs of the soul, one cannot be happy. In other words, they're not feeding the soul. They're just feeding the body and the mind. Those two things. And those pretty much the whole world runs on that platform. But then there's the soul, and then how does that act? How does that happen, and so on? And of course, we're participating. And here's some nice points to reflect on. Human life is meant for self-realization. Otherwise, it's just animal life. So the thing to meditate upon, and that our human potential is so powerful if we take advantage of it in the right way. Self-realization means one should come to know what he is, what the world is, and what the supreme truth is. Those three things. Should know what he is, what the world is, and what the supreme truth is. Really, yeah, poignant. And this is the gift given to us by Srila Prabhupada in a very, I was remembering one of the older devotees, and they were translating the Bhagavatams and the Bhagavad Gita in different ways. And that, is that an alarm clock? I had one of the senior devotees in the ISKCON movement. They had one devotee that was doing this translating from English to French. But the person in French that was doing the French, he wanted to make it really intricate, so it kind of was a little more flowery and so on. But the devotee that was doing the translating, he said, no, just keep it very simple, because that's the most important thing, that you can understand and apply it. So fulfilling the, talking about, here's a nice quote here, is that perfection is never attained until one is satisfied at heart. Satisfied at heart. So our perfection is there, it just has to be activated. It's never attained until one satisfies the heart. So that's what we're trying to find, right? this satisfaction of heart has to be searched out beyond matter. Beyond matter. Even just this point that, like Arjuna here, he was entrusted with the work of fighting for the Lord. There's so many different types of activities that go on, and it's so amazing. And that's how somebody can be a fighter and all these other things. And at the same time, no matter whatever level you're on, you can still become perfect. And now there's some really nice quotes here that I'll just condense here, but this is one that's especially potent here. It says, "Nothing remains unachieved when the Supreme Lord is pleased with somebody." If you please God, you're perfect, right? Isn't it? Not so easy, though. It sounds good, but it's a process. But it's possible for any of us. By transcendental achievement, one understands everything else to be insignificant. Isn't that? It's like useless because you're fully realized, and you realize this is better than anything that you've ever come in contact with. One who engages in transcendental loving service is elevated to the highest perfectional stage by the Lord, who is seated in everyone's heart. Very good. Yes. See? So this sounds good, right? Very nice. But then of course you have to have the practice and the process and so on. And then the points here. In ISKCON, we do not ask anyone to change their social position and then come to us. We only ask that people come out and chant and hear of
Holy name.
Haribo. Very good. Right. Simply by chanting and hearing of Krishna, one's life will change and things will be seen in a new light, a whole new perspective. And one's life will be successful. Sometimes you ask people, what's the purpose of your life? Or what is successful? You know, they think they have lots of money and this, that, and the other things. That's completely wrong, actually. And then you try to tell somebody about it and they can't figure it out because they have not practiced and understood the real position of Krishna consciousness. So just a couple. Here's a real amazing point here that's it's got a lot of value, if you will. If one hears the activities of the Lord at the house of Advaita Acharya, he will certainly very soon attain the riches of love of Krishna. I'm going to try that once more here. This is the house of Advaita Acharya. If one hears the activities of the Lord at the house of Advaita Acharya, he will certainly very soon attain the riches of love of Krishna. That is potent and impressive. You know, so this is the culture that we have. It's just a matter of being able to appreciate it and have good association, right? If we need help, you can't just do it on our own. And all of us are in the same boat. We're all trying the best that we can to come to a stage of perfection because it's there. And then lastly here, in this age of Kali, the Lord descends in the form of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. You know, yes. By chanting the Mahamantra, one can experience Krishna's presence and realize Krishna is always present. These are things to meditate on. And of course, you all know these things, but it doesn't hurt to keep thinking about them and talking about them because we forget, right? Until we become fully realized. And so I'm always so impressed to see how people from all walks of life, they come together and they're chanting and they're getting along. And I mean, it's just fantastic how this is actually unfolding and we're benefiting the whole world in such a powerful way that people, they just don't know about this. But even when you just say chant, you just say Hare Krishna or something like that, that can also gradually push people up. So we have the magic formula, and this is our great spiritual fortune that we have. So thank you for your kind attention. Do you have any questions or comments?
Can you, Prabhu, explain the process once again? What is the process?
I was reading from
Process, chanting process.
Harinama, 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 Kibalam, Bhavana, Steva, Gati, Anyata. Right? What's the English?
English says that there is only one way, there is only one way, there is only one way. Chanting of the holy names, chanting of the holy names, chanting of the holy names.
Yeah, it is, and it's true, and you can experience it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. So now we're going to... Sounds good? It's all right? Thank you. Sorry.
Hare
What's the Prabhu?